Hi everybody. I have a practice for you that is based on the theme of I am flexible, I am strong, and I can overcome my challenges. And this is an opportunity to tune into what's truly happening in your body and in your mind right now and make the shifts that are compassionate for you to be able to work through what's tough, what's stuck, what's tight. Because very physically in the body, when we tune into some compassion for ourselves, then we can put that outward into the world with the situations that are coming our way and still tune into that compassion and make the shifts that are within our power, our capability to make. There are some things that are out of our control, and there are some things that are within our control. And one of the things that's always in our control is the ability to shift our own mindset and shift physically what we are choosing to do in our bodies. So this is the practice today of shifting what we're doing so that we can come to a place of more compassion and so that we can come to a place of working through our struggles, okay? So as you take your seat, we'll take our Ganesh Mudra. And Ganesh is the archetype in yoga that symbolizes the creation and the removal of obstacles, okay? Because obstacles that we have are there to help us learn. They're there to help us figure things out. And that's what life's all about, right? Is figuring things out in a really helpful, healthy, compassionate way. And so this mudra is one hand forward, one hand back, and then you clasp your fingers and let your thumbs, one lift up and one release down. Draw shoulder blades onto your back and then pull against your fingertips. Let your eyes close and begin to take a full deep inhale and exhale in and out of your nose. Then let's come to this phrase. Inhaling and exhaling, say to yourself, I am flexible. I am strong. I am able to overcome my obstacles. Then flip the directions of your hands. Pull against your fingers, draw shoulder blades onto your back. And again, say, I am flexible. I am strong. I am able to overcome my obstacles. Then gently release your hands and simply take a full deep breath in and out of your nose. As you softly open your eyes, take your right ear over to your right shoulder, and then reach your left fingertips out to the left side, and then start a little more lean over to the right with your head. And take a couple big breaths into whatever is showing up for you, taking in the information, noticing, so that you can notice for yourself what actions would be compassionate. Inhale, come back up to center. And exhale, taking left ear over to your left shoulder, reach your right fingertips out to the right side, and then lean a little bit more to the left. Take a full big breath. Give yourself the details of how this side feels. Inhale, come back into center. Now this time, take right fingertips over to the floor beside you. Take your right arm, or just kidding, your left arm over your ear. Press your fingertips in and let your whole rib cage move out to the left side. Take a big deep breath. Feel the space in between each rib. Inhale, come back up to center. And exhale, left fingertips to the floor beside you. Right arm reaches over your ear. And again, press with your left fingertips and expand your ribs over to the right side. Take a big breath and fill up the space in between each rib. Inhale, come back up to center. Switch the cross of your legs if you're sitting cross-legged. Shift your sitting bones. And then take your hands behind you to clasp. Lift your shoulders up and back. Start to hug your elbows back. Big opening through your heart space. Take a full deep breath into an open front body. Then gently release your hands, bring them out in front to clasp. And then as you start to reach your hands forward, you're turning your palms forward. Press forward. Now round back through your upper back. Chin tucks in. Add a couple movements side to side through your shoulders. Then inhale, lift up with your arms, press up. And as you press up, make space at your head and neck. So draw broadening into your shoulders. And then take ear to shoulder, and for a moment again, check in and notice what's going on for you right here, right now. Does something feel tight, or does this feel like a really nice, pleasant stretch? Just notice. And then releasing your hands down, walk them out to your knees and clear through your spine. 2 cat-cows. Inhale, expand your heart forward, and exhale, press your spine back. One more, full inhale. Long, deep exhale. Then inhale up to your tall spine. Shift forward onto your hands and your knees. You can set aside whatever you're sitting on if you would like to. And from hands and knees, set yourself up. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Rotate your upper arm bones so your elbow pits are turning forward. Push with your hands and feel your low ribs lifting. Then tucking toes under, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog pose. And as you take down dog, find some movement that helps you sense, helps you notice what's going on in your body, helps you notice where you might feel stuck, stiff, achy. And then take as many steps forward as you need to take to come forward into your forward fold. And from forward fold, again, notice what feels tight. Notice what feels challenging here. If your hips, hamstrings, or low back are feeling tight, then take your feet a little wider than your hips, giving yourself that possibility to make this a little bit more easeful for yourself. This is a part of working through our challenges. What is it that we can do to create a little bit more ease so that we can work through what's difficult? So now hands to blocks or to the floor, whichever feels the best to you. Extend your heart a little bit forward. Knees are bent. And now sway your hips slightly side to side. Starting to work through your sides. One side of your low back, the other side of your low back. And then back into center. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Bring your hands above your knees. Send your sitting bones up. Extend your heart forward. Exhale, fold over your legs, this time as deeply as your body is ready for. Let your head release down. Even let your shoulders release down for a moment. But then begin to tilt your sitting bones up. Keeping that bend to your knees. Your sitting bones tilt up. Your head and neck gets long. Take a big full breath. Then hands to your hips, press your hips back, your heart forward. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. Walk your feet into inner hip distance apart and parallel. And take a moment, palms turning open, close your eyes and take a big breath in your mountain pose. Tune in and recognize what's present. Do a body scan. Move from feet to crown. Inhale, stretch up overhead. Exhale, soft knees to fold over your legs. Inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Planting your fingertips, you're stepping your right foot back into your lunge. Pause and center off your hips. Push down with your feet into the floor and inhale, rise up into your lifted lunge, your crescent. And as you take that centering action with your hip, just remember that here you could always have your back knee at the ground if that helps you work through the challenges a little bit easier. So find what helps you to settle into your most open version of this pose and take a big breath. Exhaling, hands come down to your blocks, and if you don't already have your knee on the ground, go ahead and bring it down. Now work up to the highest point of your blocks, or maybe a stack of books, or whatever you have that you're using as blocks. And then work your hips back, work your front leg towards straight, coming into this hamstring stretch that we all know and love, right? This half monkey pose. So as you push down with your front heel, flex your foot, and then send your sitting bones up. And notice for yourself what feels tense or tight. This is not an easy pose. For a lot of people, hamstrings are super tight. So as you notice for yourself, be compassionate and maybe bend your knee a little bit more. Maybe rise up even higher onto your fingertips. But wherever that is for you, take a big deep breath. And if it's in your practice, you'll rotate with your whole legs like you're waving at me. And as you wave at me, try to keep your hips level. And if that means that you just can't move your leg quite as much, then remember, come to a compassionate place where you can work through this challenge. Inhale, bend into your front knee. And now set your right hand on your block or the floor, left hand to your knee, and start to turn to a spinal twist toward the left side. Shoulder blades are on your back, and as you take a big breath here, just notice for yourself how this feels. Maybe you feel pretty open here and like it would serve your body well to bring your hand all the way down to the ground. Maybe that's a lot in a part of your body, so bring your hand back up. You can experiment and notice what serves you. And then maybe stretch your top arm to the sky. Take a big breath. Exhaling, both hands come down to the front of your mat. And now you're stepping all the way back into a downward facing dog pose. And from down dog, rotate your upper arm bones. Elbow pits are turning forward. Bend your knees until your sitting bones up and take a deep breath. Inhale, come forward to a plank pose. Knees can always come down here, but keep your elbow pits rotating forward. Extend through your collarbones. Now engage your low belly and your low ribs and lower down. From here, reach your arms back alongside your body. Your thumbs are aimed down. Hands are hugging in toward your body. Lift your shoulders up and back, just slightly lifting your chest. Now take a big breath and engage your legs. Hug them in toward each other and then press them down. As you press them down, also press your knees down and then engage your low belly. Now inhale, curl open as high as your body is ready for. And then if you want to, if it serves you, you can also hug in with your legs and lift them. Take a big, full, deep breath and notice. And remember that if working through this means coming to your legs back on the ground or even setting your hands down, then please do. Take a big, deep breath. Shoulders up and back. Engage your low belly. Exhale, push through knees and back to downward facing dog pose. Or if it's easier for you to work through this, maybe stay on your hands and knees. Take a big, deep breath. Then as you work your way forward, coming into your forward fold, take a couple big breaths. Inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale, fold over your legs. Tilt your sitting bones up. Keep a bend to your knees. Blocks underneath your hands. Step your left foot back into your lunge. Push down with your feet and bring your hands up to your hips. And again, you can always have your back knee on the ground here, okay? So as you bend into your front knee and you work on that centering of your hips, lift your sides, open up and expand, and maybe reach. And you could always take a different variation if your shoulders feel tight. part of working through something with health and care is to be compassionate. So choose the compassionate version, which again might be your knee on the ground. Full deep breath. On your exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat and find your back knee down if it's not already. And then work up to the highest point of your blocks. And then work your front leg towards straight as you shift your hips back, shift your hands back, finding that hamstring stretch here, finding some flexibility here for your hamstrings. Pull your toes back and give your heel a little press so your knee has to lift a little bit. So we're not locking our knee joints. Now, as you tilt your sitting bones up and extend through your heart, come to where it is the most compassionate for you, where you can feel the most open, okay? And then start to rotate through your leg. And again, you're going to rotate through your leg as much as your body can stay even with your hips and the sensations are not too much, but just enough so that you feel like you're stretching and working a little bit through your hamstrings. Good. And then bend into your front knee. And now we're setting left hand on the floor or the block. And again, you can experiment, right? And see what it is that feels the best to your body. Then right hand to your knee or thigh as you start to turn into the spinal twist toward the right side. Put both shoulder blades onto your back. Take a big deep breath. And maybe you stretch your top arm to the sky. Maybe that's a bit much on your shoulder today. Find what feels the best. Find what's most compassionate and take a big breath. On your exhale, you're setting both hands down, settling back with both knees, hips to heels. Take a child's pose and take this as deeply as your body needs. So if it's painful, then show yourself compassion and come up a little bit with your hips. Or if it feels good, then maybe shift your hips all the way back to heels. Then inhale, gently rise back up to your hands and your knees. And then broaden upper arm bones, turning elbow pits forward. Tuck your toes under. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. And take a moment here to tune in and notice. Bend one knee at a time. And then work your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold over your legs. Hands to hips. With your knees bent, use your glutes to support you. Inhale, rise all the way up. Good. So now make sure that you have something in front of you. It can be a stack of something. It can be a block, it can be a chair, it can be whatever will help you feel the most supported in your warrior three. So now feet inner hip distance apart and parallel, and then lift and spread your toes, fire them up, and then press down with your toes, rooting. Now as you bring your hands to your hips, start to shift your weight over to your left foot and draw your right toes behind you so it looks a little bit like this. Okay? And then center off your hips, drawing your right hip crease forward. And now a little bend to your left knee and squeeze your left glute. Pick your right toes up off the ground. From this place, if you decide to be more compassionate to myself, I'll keep my toes on the ground and chest lifted, then go with that option, okay? Otherwise, lift your right leg from your inner thigh and begin to hinge from your hips. And as you hinge from your hips, you're rotating your right hip crease down, extending your heart. Now tone your low belly, tone your low ribs, and then if you want to, you can work hands down to your blocks. If you find that that is supportive, then that's great. You can work to that place, pause, rotate your outer right hip crease down, and even think of pushing your outer left hip crease back. Now, if you would like to test your balance, you can lift one hand to your heart and the other hand to your heart. If that just makes you wobble and makes it harder and maybe makes you fall over, then find what it is that will help you stay stable. Find what it is that will help you be compassionate to yourself. So maybe it's one hand down, one hand at your heart. Take one more big breath. Send your left hip back. Full deep inhale, long full exhale, and then rise all the way back up, foot back to the ground, and shake it out. Bring hands together at your heart, close your eyes, and notice what's present for you, your body. Then softly open your eyes, hands to your hips. Second side, your right foot balances, your left toe touches behind you, and then center with your hips. And now find a little bend to your standing knee, squeeze your standing glute and lift your left leg. And then again, notice if that is sending you to a very wobbly place or it just doesn't feel right in your body, show compassion and maybe set your toes down behind you. Lift your chest, lift your heart. Good. Or lift your back thigh and start to hinge. Maybe even bring your hands down to your prop. Rotate your outer left hip down, press your right hip crease back. Take a big breath and just notice for yourself here. Tone your belly, tone your low ribs. Take a big deep breath. And maybe begin to bring one hand, maybe two hands up to your heart. Maybe you keep a hand down, or maybe you keep coming back to setting both hands down, or maybe you stay there. You choose. Take some big breaths and choose what is the most compassionate for you to be able to work through this challenge. One more full deep inhale and exhale. Then inhale all the way back up. Set your foot down, or you can do the foot down first if you want to. Feet inner hip distance apart and parallel with hands at your heart. Close your eyes and take a full breath. Notice. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, lift up part way. Exhale, fold. Planting hands, and you're stepping all the way back into a downward facing dog pose. And then lower knees down, hips to heels, take a child's pose, and take a few moments to move around. And then grab blocks or something to set underneath your arms, and you're going to push them a little ways away so that you can reach your fingers over the edge of whatever it is that you're using, and then let your head release down. It might come to the ground, it might not. There's no right or wrong answer. Just come to the place that's the most compassionate for you. Then gently push yourself up to your seat and come all the way down onto your sitting bones. And then find your blanket and come to a quarter fold. Or I should say, because we all have different size blankets in these videos, right? Find where you can create a long fold or a long roll. And then you're going to roll your blanket up. And then bring soles of feet together. set your blanket. I'll turn a little sideways here so you can hopefully see. Set your blanket over your feet and then wrap them, the edges underneath your ankles, but then push your feet a little ways away from you. And then you're going to take your pillow or bolster and set it in between your legs and over your blanket. And then blocks or whatever else you have for props, you can set on top of that even. But you get to find where it is where you can rest your head. So shift your sitting bones. And then take an inhale, press into the floor with your fingertips. Rise up tall, exhale, walk your hands down your legs and start to find the height that works the best for your head to be able to rest down. And then as you let your eyes close here, take some deep breaths and tune into what you're feeling. And if this feels pretty tense and difficult, then make some shifts for how high your props are. Maybe you come up just a little higher. Maybe you come down a little bit lower. But show yourself some great compassion and find what feels the best. And take some deep breaths. Three more deep breaths. And then gently inhale and bring yourself all the way back up to your tall seat. And then you're going to take your bolster off of your legs, and you're even going to take your blanket off of your legs. But keep your feet in this diamond shape. And now with your feet in this diamond shape, bring your pillow or bolster to your left hip and diagonally back. Okay? And from here, your right knee is going to turn in the same direction as your left. I call these runner legs, so it looks like you're cartoon running or something. So now turn your hips and your pelvis, turn your torso towards your pillow or bolster, and start to rest over it. Remembering that even if you're not coming to a really big challenging pose, even if you're coming to a more restorative pose, it's your opportunity to tune in to what your body is telling you, to what sensations are there, and you make choices to make it easier for your body to be here, easier for your body to work through it. So maybe adjust, turning your head to one side, or maybe adjust how far the bolster is in towards you, or maybe adjust the angle of your legs. Take some full deep breaths. Then gently use your hands to support you to rise all the way back up. And then you're turning your feet both back to that diamond shape. Bolster is coming over to the right side, coming diagonally back from your right hip. Turn your left knee and start to turn your hips and your belly. Adjust yourself and then begin to rest. And again, adjust the angle. Adjust where your bolster is. Adjust what you need to come to a more easeful place. And gently press yourself back up to your seat. And then you can move your bolster aside for now and come all the way to lay down on your back. And from this place, pull your knees up close. Just give yourself a hug, rocking a little side to side. And now, as you start to find your way into a resting pose, feel free to utilize any props that you would like to come to a really comfortable place for yourself. That could mean bolster underneath your legs. It could mean your blanket over the top of you, or maybe the roll underneath your neck. Start to find what feels really good to your body to settle in, and take some deep breaths. Gently add movement into fingers and into toes. Gently turn your head a little bit side to side. Very slowly start to bend your knees and roll over to one side, giving yourself a little cushion with your arm. Then gently start to bring yourself back up to your seat using as little energy as you can. Sitting in your comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. Clasp your fingertips, thumb one up and one down. Pull against your fingertips and draw shoulder blades onto your back. And with your eyes closed, again, think to yourself, I am flexible. I am strong. I am able to overcome my obstacles. And then switch the clasp of your fingers. And then again, pull and engage shoulder blades. And think to yourself, I am flexible. I am strong. I am able to overcome my obstacles. Connect palms together at your heart and bow toward your heart. Have a beautiful day. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.